Hi. Once upon a time, there was a German railroad worker by the name Karl Dieter. He got married to a woman named Auguste, and they had a daughter. But sometime later into their married life, his wife started having certain strange symptoms. He started developing hallucinations. She had delusions. She had suspicions about her husband's fidelity. She couldn't sleep properly. She used to wake up and scream in the middle of the night. She also had troubles with remembering things. Since he was a railroad worker and had to travel a lot, he couldn't manage the situation himself. So he got his wife, Auguste Dieter, admitted to an institute for mentally ill in a place called Frankfurt in Germany. This happened around 1901 when she was admitted to this hospital. This hospital was locally called as the Castle of the Insane. In this place, there was a doctor by the name Aloysius, who was not only a good anatomist, but also a very kind-hearted and gifted doctor. So he was taking care of many patients, including Auguste Dieter. And based on his observations, he came to the conclusion that she had certain symptoms which resemble a disease called senile dementia. But these happens very late into your age. Like people who are 75 plus, they suffer from senile dementia. But she was just 51. So it's too young to have these kind of symptoms. He developed elaborate questionnaires. He put these questions to her and recorded her responses. Like he used to ask her to repeat certain words which he tells. He used to ask some basic questions like what's her name, what's her husband's name, what is she eating now, things like that. But she used to give sometimes wrong answers, or sometimes she used to repeat the same answers for all the questions. Sometimes she used to end up saying that, oh, I'm so lost, I'm so confused. So this continued for a year or so. But later on, Dr. Aloysius got transferred to Munich to take up a new position, but he kept a tab on this particular case. But in 1906, she actually died. And with the permission of her family, he got an autopsy done, and the brain tissue samples were sent to him to Munich. Because he had developed a new staining technique, he was able to observe the brain tissues under the microscope, and he was able to see two characteristic features. One was beta amyloid protein plaques, and the other one was tau protein tangles. Both these things are found only in people who suffer from senile dementia. So based on his observations, he came to the conclusion that she had suffered from another new disease, which he named as pre-senile dementia. The second name of this doctor is Alzheimer. And in his honor, the disease was named as Alzheimer's disease. Alzheimer's disease is a very mysterious disease in the sense that we do not know what causes it. We do not know how to treat it. We don't have a cure as of now. Whatever treatments are there, they only slow down the progression of the disease. We do not have actually a cure for it. And this disease, there are possibilities of different possibilities which contemporary research points out to, but we are not able to pinpoint a specific reason why this happens. Let me make it clear. Alzheimer's disease is not a mental disorder like schizophrenia or depression. It is a brain disease. It's a progressive neurodegenerative disease where the brain cells slowly die away. Let's try to find out what the contemporary research talks about the possible causes for this disease. There are different streams of thought. One thing talks about this could be because of vascular problems like mini strokes or atherosclerosis, where clogging of the blood vessels that take blood to the brain. Because of these things, this could get triggered. That's one possibility. Another theory says that it's because of a faulty cleansing mechanism. Actually, we have a lymphatic system in the brain which cleanses the brain of impurities and toxins. But dysfunction of this kind of lymphatic system might be triggering this. Another theory says it could be because of overreaction of immune system, like our own immune system attacking our own brain cells. For example, you have astrocytes, microglia, these kind of immune cells which are supposed to clean off the proteins, these kind of amyloid beta proteins and other kind of impurities. But instead of attacking them and removing them, they end up damaging the neurons themselves. So that's another possibility. then people suggest that there could be a microbial cause to it. Like one possible organism is the bacteria which causes gingivitis. They suggest that this could be the root cause of overreaction of the inflammation or immune system reaction in the brain. There have also been studies which suggest that the gut bacteria, the pattern, the species diversity of the gut bacteria are very different between people who have Alzheimer's and people who do not have Alzheimer's. We are not sure about whether this gut bacteria causes this or it has some kind of link to Alzheimer's, but that's another possibility. Apart from this, we also think that there could be genetic causes behind these things. It has been found out that Down syndrome people who have a condition called Down syndrome have similar kind of symptoms to Alzheimer's. Women also, more women suffer from Alzheimer's. We have not been able to clearly establish why it is so, but there could be some genetic reasons behind these things. Chromosomes 1, 14, 19 and 21 seems to be suspect targets, but we are not able to put our finger on a particular gene or a few genes which could be causing this. But definitely there is a genetic reason behind this Alzheimer's disease. Before we go for the treatment, possible available treatment available, we need to understand what are these plaques and tangles. When it comes to beta amyloid protein plaques, beta amyloid protein is a normal protein produced in the brain. Usually they form outside the neurons, outside the nerve cells. But these things, when produced beyond amount, they clump together and form plaques. These plaques, once they form, they disrupt the communication between neurons and they slowly destroy the nerve cell itself. The tangles are basically made up of tau proteins. Tau proteins are also naturally produced within the brain, but these are produced within the nerve cells, and beyond a limit, these tau cells, actually the original function of tau cells is to stabilize structures called microtubules, which are responsible for smooth functioning of the cell transport, intra-cell transport. But these tau proteins disengage themselves from the microtubules and tangle up with other tau proteins. They form thread-like structures and it results in tangle kind of structures in the brain. Let's see what are the treatment options available. Most of the treatments have tried to target this plaques and tangles, trying to prevent them or trying to remove them, believing that that would cure the disease, but we have very little progress in this direction. Another line of treatment is trying to increase the bioavailability of acetylcholine. Acetylcholine is a neurotransmitter which is very relevant for learning and memory, and we try to target the synapses where normally acetylcholine degrades into its subcomponents, but we try to interfere with the enzymatic activity that sees to that they don't degrade and they remain there for more time. But the problem is acetylcholine production itself goes down as the disease progresses. So again, not much of support with this kind of line of therapy. The third line of therapy is about trying to reduce or trying to counter excessive glutamate, which is another excitatory neurotransmitter, with again limited success. Apart from these kind of medical treatments, drug-based treatments, what we have got is we are even trying to develop a vaccine, trying to prevent formation of these plaques and tangles. Finally, there are psychological treatments like cognitive enhancement therapy, you have music therapy and other kind of things which we have tried, but all these things have only slowed down the disease but not cured it. Can we prevent it? There is no definite answer to this, but if you look at the causes like atherosclerosis or stress and other kind of things could be accelerating the disease, there is a possibility that if you eat healthy, exercise regularly, sleep well and lead a stress-free life, definitely there's a possibility that we may be able to prevent the onset of Alzheimer's. Well, for the civil service aspirants, you need to understand that in your syllabus there is no explicitly Alzheimer's stated in your syllabus, psychology syllabus. But UPSC has asked question which is not explicitly given in the syllabus. For example, recently they asked a question on attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, but the syllabus talks only about learning disability. But attention deficit hyperactive disorder is not a learning disability by itself, but it is a comorbid condition with learning disability. Similarly, there was a question on Slobin's theory of language development, but in the syllabus it's explicitly stated it is Skinner's theory and Chomsky's theory. So there's always possibility that certain things which are not very obvious, which are hidden in the syllabus, could be asked. So you need to be prepared on those things. So this is very relevant for the unit on memory in paper 1. That's where you could use this. Finally, this is not a video on, a technical video on how to cure this disease and things like that. Therefore, do not engage in self-diagnosis or self-treatment. If you have any issues with memory and other kind of issues, please do consult a registered medical practitioner. Thank you. Bye.